Great. So just to recap, I've asked you to just think on a scale of 1 to 10 how you're feeling right now. So just going to repeat that for the recording. And you note it mentally, you can write it down, whatever feels right for you. And then we are going to be using a bell through the call, which will be going off 3 times. And that bell is going to just remind us to center in, to get out of our body, out of our heads into our body. So I will start that now. So using the sound of that bell to just focus in. We can close our eyes, but we can do this with eyes open as well. And simply becoming aware of the breath as it is. There's no need to change anything. It's simply about being aware of your breath. The breath is with us 24 hours, 7 days a week. So we could do this anytime, anywhere. Just simply becoming aware of the breath. Trying to let any thoughts just go away, float away like clouds, or just leaving them behind. Leaving behind anything you've needed to do in order to be here now. Again, just coming back to that breath. Just being aware of the feet on the ground. The body on the chair. And just really letting that chair take your weight. And relaxing into it. So again, just coming back to the breath as it is. Noticing what may be coming up for you. And knowing that there is no right or wrong. It's simply information. And it's simply about accepting what is coming up. And then as we come back to the breath again, just being aware of that breath. Becoming aware of those feet on the ground. The body on the chair. And when you're ready, just come back. So that's a very simple exercise that we could all be using. And I just want to know if there's any questions around that and how you could use it. No?
Kish, sorry I was a little bit late. Can I just check that right at the beginning it's just about sitting quietly, listening to your breath, not doing anything particular with your breath, as in deep breaths or anything, just the breath
No.
at it, just the breath as it is, and
We
just
will,
kind of
we will
basically
be
stay.
doing, yeah, we'll be doing a bit more on deep breathing.
Yeah.
But really it's about just noticing the breath as it is, because we could be doing that anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of this, because in our normal lives we would be needing it anyway, but I think the need for it now is way more important. And
Yeah.
say we're social distancing at the supermarket, for example, or in the shops, or it's just reminding ourselves that that breath is with us, and it can be used very simply anytime, anywhere. I mean, it's tell me how. It'd be nice to hear from people how they felt just from doing that one bit of breathing exercise.
It was quite interesting for me. I didn't realise how I sit with my jaw quite tense
Okay.
a lot, and my teeth are like gritted. Even if I'm just sitting like relaxing, my face is quite tense, which is interesting. I wouldn't normally notice that.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Liz. Yeah, it's a really simple exercise to really realize where we're at. Anyone else?
I just realised I'm standing, so I might put my desk down and sit down.
Okay. I thought you were standing when you started, but that's great to have that flexibility as well, Rachel. Welcome, Lucinda. This call has been recorded. It's been recorded, so you can catch up with it afterwards.
I've been trying to get on my computer, to be honest, but I don't know how. It won't connect on my computer because I accepted on my phone. I can't get through on my computer, which is rather irritating. And I think one or two other people are having a problem getting through.
Well, it is what it is, and we will have the recording, and the recording will be sent to people, so that's fine. It's a short time, and the disruption.
Sure. No, exactly. I was just letting you know that Julie was trying to get through, and one or two others.
Okay, thank you. So what I explained in the beginning was that we will be having a bell going off during the call, and when the bell goes off, we will be doing the breathing exercise. But also I just wanted to bring in the working from home. Some of us have worked from home for a long time. Other people are really new to the experience. And it's about very simple stuff like having a space to work from home. It's about really having a routine. The routine is really important, and I think the routine is going to be more and more important as we're going further into our current situation. It's about having regular breaks, so making sure you have coffee breaks, lunch breaks. I'm finding that most organizations are really being much more flexible about working hours, are really concerned about people's well-being. So it's a time for us to really take responsibility of our own well-being. By really looking after ourselves, we'll be in a much better position to look after the people around us. So get your daily exercise. Have your boundaries. So if you're working from 9 to 5, there is allowance for a better and more breaks in that. And at 5, just turn off your laptop or whatever, and the rest of the evening is not to do with work, and neither is weekend. So really have those boundaries very much clearly in place, because I'm speaking from experience of when I first started working from home. And as you all know, I worked from home in the 1980s. But because I sometimes had the kids at home because they were ill or something, I used to end up working at night and things like that. I was speaking to people who are actually having to look after children in the middle of all of this as well. And so what they're doing is, somebody I know, that she's starting the early shift. She's doing the shift from 6 to 8:30, and then she does her work then, and then her husband takes over, and they're juggling it that way, because there's lots of ways of juggling, and just make sure that you're looking after yourselves, which is really key. The other thing is also around confidentiality. We're all working on our computers. We're working from our home broadband or whatever Wi-Fi systems we've got available, but really be aware of confidentiality and making sure that your screens are locked, and put away at the end of the day. And the final thing is really around avoiding too much media. We need some information, but really we don't need as much as is being given to us. And for some people, I've been speaking to a client earlier in the week, and she's actually got addicted to watching the news, and it's really not serving her well. So watch what you need to. We all need the right information, but don't overdo it, and try and stay and do positive stuff as much as possible. There's so much going on online, exercising, put music and dance. We don't do that. Why not? Nobody's watching. Just get on your music and go and dance. And for people who've got kids, the kids will join in. They'll love that kind of stuff. So really, really just use this time as well to just rejuvenate, just reflect on what's going on in life and kind of slow the pace down a bit. We were talking, Liz and Rachel and I were talking earlier, that some people are just going on back Zoom meetings, which is really, really not helpful, because you're really not looking after yourself. You're in front of the screen all the time. So really allow for spaces. And if you've slowed down a bit, it's almost like do that even another notch down. What would it be to slow it down one more notch? That's the question to ask yourself, because we were all going at a pace of 200 and 500 and 1,000 really. So if we slow the notch down, it's not going to have a huge, huge impact. And a lot of the time, one of the clients I was speaking to yesterday was saying he's got his team to do less, and they're in a sales environment, and he's found that actually by them doing less, they're actually hitting their targets better. And that for the whole team was just such a revelation. So we will be having the bell coming through. I just want to see if there's any questions at this stage before we carry on. No. Okay, good. So really I'm going to go back to the breath, because the breath is really, as I say, with us 24/7. It's the foundation of any work we do around slowing down, around existing on the planet. It's with us, and without it, we wouldn't exist. So it's really important to try and use this breath and noticing what's going on, a bit like Liz was sharing with us, that, we don't realize how much we clench the jaw. I have a habit sometimes of, instead of sitting with my feet flat on the ground, I kind of raise them up a bit. I don't know why I do that, but I do. So it's about noticing all these little things that we end up doing and changing them bit by bit. Okay, so I know Sue, yeah, that's a good exercise, isn't it? And rolling the shoulders. So even before the bell starts, let's just start getting into the position of it coming up in a few minutes. So firmly feel your feet on the ground. And it's almost like allowing the feet to root down into Mother Earth, almost like the roots of trees being pulled down. Because grounding is really, really important at the moment.
Sorry, Kish, can I just check out? Are we supposed to have our eyes closed or open at this stage?
Exactly, whatever you'd like to do. It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with.
Thank you.
The thing with all of this stuff, Sue, is to make it work for you. So, there are instructions in terms of, let's just slow, because if you're standing, say, in the supermarket, you don't want to quite, well, actually, I think it'd be interesting to see what the reactions are. But yeah, just, to kind of do it wherever we can. And as often as we can, it will become a bit of a muscle. It's like anything, the more you practice it, and the more often you do it. So, if you're noticing that, okay, now I'm just getting a little anxious, okay, let me just breathe. Really notice my breath. Because even if we just do it now, as we're sitting, just becoming aware of the breath and not changing anything. Just notice what's happening for you. And sometimes when we start noticing the breath, it brings up anxiety as well. It's not always just calm. But what's important is that it's informing us, and it's informing us about something that we may need to change. So there we go, the bell's just gone. So simply becoming aware of the breath as it is. The feet on the floor. And relaxing into your chair. Just noticing the breath as it is. And in this sequence, I'm going to add in a bit of deep breathing as well. So on the next breath, I'd like you to take a nice deep breath in, as deep as you can. And then hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let it go as slowly as you can. Slowly, 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 slowly. And then we'll take another deep breath in. And we'll hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just let it go really, really, really slowly. We take one more deep breath in. And hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just let it go really, really, really slowly. And then just come back to your normal breathing. Really becoming a witness to your breath. Letting any thoughts just float away like clouds by coming back to the breath. And then just feeling your feet on the ground, your body on the chair. And when you're ready, come back into the space. So I'd like us to have a kind of little bit of a discussion around if there's any challenges at the moment, if there's any challenges with doing this, or also ideas around how you're going to go and use this as you go out from the call. And I'd like to also ask people, first of all, on a scale from 1 to 10, we'd said initially, how were you feeling? And I'd just like to hear how you're feeling now. Is it any better? Is it worse? Is it the same?
Definitely better.
Definitely better.
Definitely better. Feel a bit more like rested in my chair, if that makes sense.
And did you give it a number at all, Liz?
Yeah, I was about 6, so I'd say
Mhm.
I was a bit more like towards an 8 now.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
thank you. Anyone else?
I didn't give it a number to start with, Kish.
That's okay.
Definitely helping me just feel more calm.
Mm.
Yeah, just settling.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I find at the moment it's very, very easy to get unsettled. So actually, just
Exactly. And this is such a beautiful way to settle yourself.
yeah.
And can be done almost anywhere, as I say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and any ideas of where and how you could use this more?
I think when I initially started working from home, I'd been reading about how it's actually more important to take regular breaks. And I think I'd read something initially to sort of every 30 minutes take a break, which seems like a lot, but I've been conscious of, especially if I'm sitting at my desk, you just sat all day. So maybe you could do one every 30 minutes. One, maybe you go for a walk a little bit, and another you could do something like this.
Yeah, that's a great idea. In fact, WHO, when they've been giving guidelines, have said move every 30 minutes. So it's not excessive. If WHO is saying it, then
That's true.
we need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get stuck where you are, just going on and going on. So it's it's just remembering to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's almost like setting yourself a reminder.
That's what I was wondering about, Kish. Actually, just literally putting an alarm on to remind me.
Yeah, alarm, or use Post-its. You just stick Post-its up at different parts of the house. With breathe.
Bad chat. Yeah. Yeah.
I use that. Yeah. I mean, I do have the mindfulness bell going. I used to, before all of this, I used to have it every hour, but now every half an hour is much more important. But I've had people who've worked with me who just do little Post-its or get and use it as a creative activity. Make it quite colorful and put some, so again, that's a great way of getting out of the head.
Yeah.
Is just using some color, that you've seen the mindful coloring stuff, but it's almost like, imagine you're back at nursery and you've just got to make these little signs, we become kids again and do it rather than anything else. And then just stick them around the house. I know my house, every time the bell would go every hour, they'd go, oh God, not again, Eventually they got used to it. It didn't mean they all stopped, but it meant that I was going to stop regardless. So yeah, get creative with the reminding.
It's every hour, Kish, or is that just when you're working at home and you need a break? And
well, I've always, even when I'm working from home, you're usually just an hour every hour, or even if I'm in the kitchen or whatever, the bell just goes off and I just stop doing what I'm doing. Because what I say is we need to build up our emotional bank balance, just like we do the monetary bank balance. And so if we can do that on a regular basis by a minute at a time, when stuff hits us, and we know over the next few weeks or who knows how long we're going to have to be in, the things that are going to hit us are going to just hit us from the most unexpected places. So if we can stabilize that emotional bank balance, then that would be a fantastic thing for us to be doing. So, and I know Lucinda is an EFT specialist, and she's told us that if we tap it's here, isn't it, Lucinda, just here on the wrist?
Yep, here on the wrist or on your collarbone here. So if you're doing the breathing and tapping at the same time, the two really work well together. So on your wrist point here, which is really easy to do while you're sitting at your desk, here, while you're doing that lovely deep breathing that Kish has just been teaching us.
Sorry, what's an EFT specialist?
Oh, sorry, Rachel.
Emotional freedom technique. It's a system of tapping on meridian points. It's like acupuncture, but without needles. It was created by a chap called Gary Craig, and it helps clear negative thought processes that disrupt the energy system in our bodies. So this is one of the meridian points here, and your collarbone is another one here. So as you get flustered and nervous and anxious and stressed and so on and so forth, just, you know, really at the very early stages, don't wait till it builds up. If you start tapping, then it helps to clear and reduce all of that. And if you're doing it particularly when you're doing Kish's breathing, then it will act, it will double the value of that wonderful breathing that you're doing.
Nice.
I thought Lucinda's on the call. It would seem a shame not to use her expertise while we have it as well.
Yeah, so those are 2 points. I mean, there are lots of other points to use, but those are 2 really easy, simple points to use for you to make use of. You know, any time that you're feeling even the slightest bit stressed. Yeah, really, really useful, really good. And doing it as part of that relaxation is a perfect time to be doing it.
Oh, sorry about that.
It happens to with the best of us.
Okay, any other questions or ideas of how to use breathing and EFT and so on? No. Anything else anyone's got to share? We're nearly at our time. The final bell should have been going, but it hasn't, but it's now 11:30. And I just want to thank you all for coming in onto the call and making half an hour of time for yourself.
Well, it's wonderful to do it with you, Kish, because you're an expert at doing this mindfulness, which we rarely give ourselves the time to do. So having you help us to do it is a great thing. So thank you so much.
Not at all, Lucinda. Thank you.
No, thank you, Kit. It was really calming as ever. So thank you. No, really good.
Welcome. Take care.
Yeah, and
Take care.
recording. Sorry,
Yes, it's been recorded, so there's no problem. You'll get I'll send the recording through later.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Right, take care, everybody.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye. How do I leave? I need to leave.
And I haven't finished the recording because the bell will be going again one more time. And I just want to remind you that the breath is with us 24/7. Really, really important tool. And it can become the foundation of learning to be calm, learning to be present, and learning to be centered. To coming out of our heads and into our bodies is one of the best ways to be present. So please make time for your breathing. Make time for your conscious breathing. And make time to top up your emotional bank balance on a daily basis, because it's going to be needed more now than ever before. Thank you. And goodbye.